Here is the 12th 3 minutes narrative segment of the Eternal Griot, Tales of the Seven-Eyed Calabash. Part 12, The Tree That Carried Lightning. Chapter 1, The Forest That Breathed Fire. Beyond the borders of forgotten maps stood the forest of Umuezigkiti, where trees whispered in thunder and roots fed on lightning. No bird flew above it. No hunter entered it twice. It was said a single tree stood in the center, a tree taller than the sky, older than language. When it rained, it didn't drink. It roared. The people of Okpokiri, a neighborhood village, called it Kukua, the tree that carried lightning. They feared it. But Amire was drawn to it, for the calabash had opened its third eye, and the wind around it now hummed with sparks. Chapter 2, The Village That Buried Its Thunder. Okpokiri was a village where thunder was never spoken of. Elders wore copper amulets, children were taught silence during storms, and all drums were forbidden after sunset. They believed that long ago, one of their ancestors stole fire from a storm not to warm the people, but to burn a rival village. The fire turned against him and fled into the forest, birthing the cursed tree. Ever since, the people waited for the day the tree would awaken. Amire arrived, and with him came clouds, purple, swelling, alive. He knew what the calabash sought, not fire, but what the fire remembers. Chapter 3, The Girl Who Fed the Tree. A girl named Ikemfuna followed Amire from a distance. She was mute by choice, struck dumb the day her twin was lost to the lightning tree. But her eyes spoke in thunder. She led him through the forest's edge, where trees grew in spirals and birds flew backward. Each step was a memory. Each leaf a forgotten scream. Finally, she pointed to a hill of stone carved with burn marks. There lay the bones of a drummer, still holding his charred drum. The calabash trembled. The tree was listening. Chapter 4, The Roots of Judgment. At the forest's heart stood Kukua, its bark black as midnight, its branches clawing the sky. As Amire approached, a voice boomed not from the tree, but through it. Greater than you carry tales. But do you carry the weight of consequences? Amire touched the trunk. Instantly, he saw the past, a firestorm rising from a war drum's beat. A laughing king ordering villages burned. A child hiding beneath roots, eyes wide with betrayal. He saw Ikemfuna's twin taken, not by the tree, but by the guilt of the village, sacrificed to pay for old sins. The tree had not killed. It had remembered. Chapter 5, The Thunder-Drummed Calabash opened. Inside was a seed, glowing and hot, a spark older than stars. Amire planted it in the roots of the tree and began to drum, not with rage, but with remorse. Each beat told the truth the village had hidden. Each note unburied names lost to cowardice. Ikemfuna joined him, humming a wordless tune when her twin had sung before disappearing. As they played, the sky opened not with fury, but with forgiveness. Lightning danced through the branches. The tree groaned. Then bloomed. Chapter 6, The New Fire. By dawn, the tree was no longer blackened but silver and red, bearing fruit that pulsed like stars. From its bark flowed water, not flame. It sang. The villagers came, weeping. Ikemfuna spoke for the first time in years, greater than the tree never cursed us. We cursed ourselves with silence. Amire handed her the seed of the second fruit. She would carry it forward. The calabash's third eye closed gently. Only 2 eyes remained. The journey continued, not lighter, but brighter. Welcome to the Part 11. Part 11, The Mask of the Moon-Cursed King. 3 minutes narrative segment of the Eternal Griot, Tales of the Seven-Eyed Calabash. Chapter 1, A King Who became knight. Long before empires carved names into land, there was Obanketa, a king beloved for his wisdom and feared for his silence. He ruled the cliff-top kingdom of DEKHO, where the moon never set and time bent like smoke. But one day, the moon whispered a truth the king could not bear. He vanished into the hills, leaving behind his crown, his people, and a mask. The mask grew into legend. It was said that whoever wore it would hear every lie ever told, including their own. And beneath the mask, Obanketa still walked no longer a man, but a shadow in silver robes. Chapter 2, The March of Silver Feet. Amire arrived in Oduriko with the calabash glowing cold and bright. No one spoke. Not because they couldn't, but because speech had become dangerous. One word too many, and silver footsteps would echo outside your door. The moon never blinked. At the village square, he found the wall of unspoken truths, a monument of names etched by those who had disappeared into the hills. The last name ? Naughty. Chapter 3, The Mask in the Griot. That night, the moonlight became a path. It led Omire to a stone gate that opened without a touch. Inside was a chamber of mirrors. In each mirror stood a different version of him, a tyrant, a coward, a king, a lover, a ghost. And on a throne of woven shadows sat Obanketa, wearing the silver mask. He spoke, "Greater than you who carries stories in a gourd, oh you carry your own?" Omire answered, "Only the pieces I can forgive." The king removed his mask. Underneath was no face, only swirling truths. Chapter 4, The Price of Seeing. To find Naughty, Omire had to wear the mask. The calabash trembled. He placed the mask on his face. Suddenly, he was every person who ever lied to themselves. He saw a mother who prayed for war to end but sold weapons at dawn. A healer who let a child die because the father had mocked her. A griot who told stories to hide from his own. And then he saw Naughty. She was in a hidden shrine, writing a story in reverse, hoping to unmake the curse of the moon. She whispered, "Greater than he cannot be unmasked by truth. Only by a song no one has ever sung." Chapter 5, The Unsung Song. Amire returned the mask to the king. "I do not seek to destroy you," he said, "but to set you free." The king, voice shaking, replied, "Greater than." Then sang the song that ends silence. Omire took out a single string from his drum. With it, he played a rhythm made not of beat, but of pause. He sang, "Greater than you are not your crown, nor your shame, nor the truth that burns your name. You are what you choose to remember and forget." The chamber cracked. Mirrors shattered. The moon blinked. And the king wept. Chapter 6, The Crown of Forgiveness. Obanketa crumbled into light. In its place remained the silver mask, now blank and naughty, whole again, with ink on her fingers and tears in her eyes. Omire and Naughty left Oduriko. As they passed the wall of unspoken truths, the names etched into it faded not in erasure, but in peace. The calabash's fourth eye blinked shut. And in the distance, the moon finally set. "Thank you."